Okay, so during our previous lecture, we have discussed regarding the overview of few NDT methods. These are visual inspection, then liquid penetrant testing, and it may be a magnetic particle testing. So, I think I have discussed few things regarding radiography, but again we revise the uh, information regarding radiography technique. So let us start our session. So the next method in non-destructive testing is radiography. If you see this presentation or animation, in this animation on the other side X-ray source is there which emits the X-ray. X-ray penetrates the component or we can say object. It absorbs some amount of energy from X-ray and it transmit the remaining energy on the other side. On other side there is a X-ray sheet. It may be a recorder. It records the nature of object on the sheet. So this is the theme behind radiography testing. Generally radiography uses higher energy version of electromagnetic wave. The X-ray comes from X-ray generator or radiographic source. And if you see this image, there is a range of wave, range of different waves. This is radio wave which has very low frequency, then microwave, then infrared, visible light which may be a 7 colors, ultraviolet, then X-ray and then gamma. The X-ray and gamma ray, the two rays are used in radiography technique. These rays has higher frequency and shorter wavelength. Wavelength and frequency is inversely proportional to each other. So what happens exactly in this? At one end radiographic source is placed, on other hand X-ray film or we can say recorder is placed, and in between that two mechanical object is placed. X-ray source emits radiations, it penetrates through the component and radiography sheet is generated. It depends on the density which appears in between the X-ray source and radiographic film. If you consider the principle, it is very simple that radiation enters the material and being absorbed by the material itself. Absorption level depends on thickness and density of material. And suppose there is a cavity or discontinuity within the material. So when there is a cavity and discontinuity, radiation will have less material to travel and there will be a reduction in absorption level of X-ray by the material. This variation is recorded on the X-ray film which is placed after the component, and it generates image which indicates presence of defect or the thickness variation or density variation within the material. I have already discussed that it is very similar to that procedure which is applicable in orthopedic sector, and it is applied by the orthopedic doctor. It is a object. Radiography source is another end. Radiography rays penetrates the component, and then that X-ray sheet generates, and it again depends on density. If you consider the elements of radiography, then only three objects or only three elements are needed here. First one, that is source of radiation. Second one, object to be radiographed, and third one, detector, or we can say it is a X-ray film. These three components are needed, three elements we can say. So as mentioned here, the film darkness will be vary with amount of radiation reaching the film through the test object. Procedure is very simple, dear friends. Procedure is very simple, but interpretation needs a skillful observation regarding the conclusion. Yes, it is very simple. You need to place a object in between the source and film. Source emits radiation, X-ray film absorb radiation, and that X-ray film generate. It is very simple. But after that, the main role played by the inspector. The density difference or the darkness and the we can say fairness of that film need to be interpreted very carefully after this procedure. It may happen that there may be a false indication on the sheet, and the inspector may consider that false responses or indications as a main indication, and the inspection may fail. So inspector, whoever is the inspector, it should be skilled one. He or she should be should have a proper we can say knowledge regarding the interpretation of radiographic film, because it is just a single sheet, 2D sheet, and our object is 3D. So with the help of radiography, we can't detect the location. We can't detect exact location of defect within the component. It is very difficult. Means it is impossible also. It is impossible to just gives information regarding the location. It is within the material only. So we can't say the defect is X depth or on the Y depth. No. Suppose this is the component. We can't say the defect is on 7 mm depth or 10 mm depth. We can't say by interpreting this X-ray film. We need to apply another kind of NDT technique here to get exact location of defect. So this is the limitation of this radiography technique. See here, these are the few examples of actual objects and their radiography sheets. This is the metallic object. Here there may be a flaw available. This is a printed circuit board which comes under electronics or automation culture. This is the radiography sheet. This is composite material, and this is the radiography sheet. So these three images shows that we can inspect or evaluate any type of material by radiographic technique. This is the advantage of radiography. Means we can check multiple type of material with the help of radiography, because it only depends on the density and thickness of material. It does not depends on material. But if you consider magnetic particle testing, the magnetic particle testing needs a ferromagnetic material only, because the first condition is in magnetic particle testing is that material should be magnetized first. So you can't check this printed circuit board, this composite material with the help of magnetic particle testing. So as far as the radiography technique is concerned, we can check multiple type of materials through this technique. So let us move towards the another slide or another method. The another technique is eddy current testing. So eddy current testing is one of the electromagnetic testing method used in NDT, and it is used to detect surface and subsurface flaws in electrically conductive material. So see here, in this statement I mentioned that this method is used to detect surface and subsurface flaws in electrically conductive material. Means it shows that material should be electrically conductive. This is regarding the principle of eddy current testing. Eddy current testing is based on the principle of electromagnetic induction. It is all based on this theme of eddy current testing is electromagnetic induction. What happens exactly? When an alternative current is made to pass through the coil. This is the coil. This red is coil. When we pass alternative current through this coil, it produces alternating magnetic field. This is coil's magnetic field. It generates magnetic field, alternating magnetic fields. As it generates magnetic field, this magnetic field in turn induces an eddy current in the test specimen. I repeat again. We supply an alternating current to the coil. Alternating coil produces a magnetic field. That magnetic field produces eddy current within the specimen. And the presence of, suppose there is a presence of any defect, so suppose there is a defect present in the specimen at that location, it disturbs the eddy current. As it disturbs the eddy current, it again produces magnetic field in the opposite direction, and which changes the corresponding phase and amplitude which is being measured. So how we measured here whether there is a defect or not? First we supply alternating current here. As we supply alternating current to the coil, magnetic field is generated around the coil, and when we put our specimen near to the magnetic field, due to this magnetic field, eddy current produces within the material. And suppose there is a defect at that location, that defect interprets or disturbs the eddy current. As eddy current disturbs, it produces again magnetic field in opposite direction, and it changes phase as well as amplitude, and that amplitude and phase is being measured during this testing method, and then the inspector will conclude with actual inspection report whether there is a defect or not. Suppose there is a no defect, there is a no interpretation in, or there is a no disturbance in eddy current, so we can't get change in amplitude. So likewise the principle is goes on with eddy current. This method can be used to detect surface defect. It can be used to measure thickness of non-conductive material coating on conductive material. It is very different type of application. We can measure thickness of non-conductive material coating on conductive material. Then corrosion and tube thickness as so on. So yes, it is the eddy currents magnetic field. The eddy current testing is particularly well suited for detecting surface cracks, but can also be used to make electrical conductivity and coating thickness measurement, as I earlier said. Here a small surface probe is scanned over the part surface in an attempt to detect the crack. So this is the very small component you see here, and there is a probe which is moving or scanning the component, and with the help of the scanning we get the differences in amplitude on the screen, and the inspector inspect these differences in amplitude, and it conclude, and or he or she conclude with the defect, presence of defect or not. So next, ultrasonic testing. So as per as the ultrasonic testing is concerned, there are multiple methods in ultrasonic testing. First one, that is pulse echo method. Next one, through transmission method, and there is another method, that is immersion ultrasonic testing. There are basic three methods. So in these methods, a high frequency sound waves are introduced into the material, and they are reflected back from the surface or crack, flaws, whatever it may be. The reflected sound energy is displayed versus time, and the inspector can visualize a cross section of the specimen showing the depth of features that reflect sound. See here in this animation, this is the probe, or we can say transducer, or we can say it is a search unit. This is a plate or say component. This is a crack which is present in the plate or component. This is the connector. This is the machine screen. As it is mentioned here, high frequency sound waves are introduced into the material. It get reflected from crack as well as, see here, concentrate at this location. Concentrate please at this location. As waves are transferred from the probe, it strike over the another wall or flaws, and it get reflected and received by the same transducer, and the synchronization of this defect and back wall is represented on the screen itself. See here, there are two echoes comes on the screen, and here there is a two reflections of the sound wave. First one is from back wall, or we can say extreme end of component, and second one is from crack, or we can say flaw. So it is an initial pulse. See here, it is an initial pulse comes from the interface of component and transducer. This is a crack echo comes from this flaw, and there is another echo which can be called as back wall echo or back surface echo, and it comes from the extreme end of component. So as scanning happens from one end to another end, it shows indication on the machine screen. Suppose probe is at this location. Suppose our probe is at this location. What happens? The sound waves transmit from the probe, and it get received by the, so it is incoming, it is outgoing. So this first wave comes from the transducer, it reflect from the another surface and it get received by the transducer. So what happen on the screen, this back wall echo is only present, this crack echo is absent. So this crack echo is not there while probe is at this location, because there is a no any flaw in between the two surfaces. So this is the theme behind ultrasonic testing. Here, as the same probe transmit and receives the sound wave, it is called as pulse echo. Same transducer transmit and receives the sound wave. And suppose there are two different probes. First one transmit the sound wave, and suppose there are another probe which is placed exactly on the opposite side which receives the sound wave. Then it is called as a through transmission method. Means there are two different probes which can be used to inspect the component for transmission and receiving the sound wave. So it is called as through transmission method. This probe is representing pulse echo technique. And there is another method which can be called it as immersion testing. That immersion is called as, immersion means the component is dipped into water and the probe is on the water surface, and then we measure, we evaluate the component. That is immersion testing. We immerse the component into water and we inspect the component. So as we seen in this image, what are the multiple elements which are comes into picture while discussing the ultrasonic testing? The machine screen itself, connectors, then transducer, or we can say the pulsar or receiver, couplant. It is very important. As sound waves passes into the material, and when there is a interface between the two material, it loses its energy. Means the velocity of sound is different in different material. The velocity of sound in air is different, the velocity of sound in steel is different, the velocity of sound in aluminum is different. So while scanning any component, there is a minor gap in between the transducer and the plate, or we can say component. So to fill this gap, this micro gap, we can use couplant here. So couplant may be water, oil, grease. So it helps us to transmit the sound wave from transducer into the material. So couplant plays very vital role for transmitting the sound wave from pulsar to plate or component. So this is another advanced technique which is computer controlled one. So high resolution image can be produced by plotting signal strength or time of flight TOF using a computer controlled scanning system. The first image shows that the grayscale image produced using the sound reflected from the front surface of coin. means as per as the reflection of sound is concerned regarding the coin, the system gives us appropriate image. This is the another image which is produced from the sound reflected from back surface of coin, that is head side. So these are the two images produced with the help of ultrasonic imaging method, which is computer controlled scanning system. So let us discuss about the next point, that is difficulties of NDT. So first one, that is lack of skilled operator. Lack of skilled operator. It exactly means that when you inspect the component with the help of any NDT techniques, that component gives us multiple responses and the inspector need to interpret that responses. I already told you that, but again it is a difficulty, so I will repeat again. So as per as the responses are concerned, the inspector need to sort out the false responses, or we can say pseudo responses. He need to or she need to sort out the responses, then inspection is being made afterwards. So for example, suppose there is a shaft. So just a minute. Suppose this is a shaft and this is the bearing location. These are the two bearing locations. And suppose you are scanning this as you are scanning this component axially, you need to place the probe at this location. The probe transmit the sound wave and it get reflected from various entities. Again it transmit, again it reflect, again it transmit, again it reflects. So if you see this example, there are multiple locations from which the sound is reflected. This is the first location, this is the second location, this is the third location. So on machine screen what happens, suppose this is a machine screen. Here there may be a one echo. This is initial echo. Here may be another echo. Here may be the echo. So there are 1, 2 and 3 echoes on the screen. So what is the role of inspector? As per as the drawing or design of shaft is concerned, these extensions, or we can say these are locations of bearing. So these are needful one, these are useful one, these are not treated as a crack or as a flaw, but machine gives us responses on the screen. So there is a main role of inspector. He should interpret that this echo come from first bearing location, and second echo comes from second bearing location, and third echo comes from the back wall, extreme end of shaft. So there is a no flaw present in the component or shaft. So this is the example. Machine gives us multiple responses. Here 1, 2, 3 responses are given on the screen. But as actual, there is a no flaw present in the shaft. So we say that shaft is okay. But suppose there is a unskilled person which inspect this or which interprets this result. He wrongly says that there are two defects present in the shaft. So it is wrong interpretation. So skilled operator is required to interpret the result. Next, there may be a interference of background noise with the actual signal which is reflected back from the original material. So as far as the ultrasonic technique is concerned, it is related to sound. And suppose there are in industry, suppose there are multiple works or multiple operations are going on the floor, and suppose these operations making noise, and so due to this noise we get wrong response or false response from the component. It happens. So background noise should not be there while inspection of component with the help of ultrasonic technique. So keep in mind, there is a negligible sound should be there surround on the surrounding. Then and then only we get a proper responses from the component. Next one, difficulties like wrong positioning, orientation and wrong determination of defect type will be there. So suppose this is a plate. Suppose this is a plate, two plates, and these are joined with the help of one welding joint. So when we place an angle probe here, this angle probe emits sound wave in a predefined angle. It gets reflected from the back wall. It strikes on the joint, and machine gives us a multiple responses. So machine gives us multiple responses. So as there is a no crack, no flaws presented in the welding joint, machine shows that multiple responses. So it is due to wrong positioning of probe and wrong orientation of probe. So we need to check whether the inspector, whether we are measuring, we are inspecting in a wrong way or not. We need to check this procedure before doing actual scanning. So we need to take a proper position before scanning, that position of transducer and orientation. These two are very important. If these two are not there, then wrong determination of defect may be there. Because we can't see this component internally, just we are observing this component from outer side, and only by visual inspection we can't say that there is no defect inside the component. So as we make a wrong position of transducer, we get the wrong responses from the component, and we may fail for this evaluation. Next one, lack of protective equipment may cause damage to the operating person, as in case of radiography testing by radiations. Yes, as we know, radiography is very hazardous for human being, as it goes on multiple times. So that operator facing this procedure multiple times. So there is a need to use proper protective equipment while using this radiography source. There are multiple X-ray shields are available, radiography goggles are available, but it should be used properly while actual inspection. So this is the difficulty. One case is happened in Kolhapur industry. They produces a pump casing which is 27 tons in weight, 27 tons, and they are inspecting that casing with the help of radiography. That component is too huge, and they are inspect they were inspecting that component at night time with the help of radiography. So please imagine 27 tons of component can be inspected with the help of radiography technique, then huge amount of X-rays are generated at that place. So afterwards modification is done. They adopted ultrasonic technique, and for critical cases they use radiography. So ultrasonic is one of the best replacement for radiography. Next, surface preparation is necessary. Presence of oil, grease, paint, dirt may cause error in the output. Yes, as per as the multiple NDT methods are concerned, the all method needs a proper surface, clean surface, because presence of any impurity gives us wrong interpretation. So surface preparation is very necessary. So these are the multiple difficulties of NDT. Common applications: inspection of raw product, inspection of secondary processing, and inspection during damage inspection. So in all three cases NDT is applicable, means during raw product, in service damage, as well as secondary processing, means on the production line also. So raw products which comes in forging industry, casting industry, or extrusion industry, it can be inspected with the help of NDT method. Secondary processing, that is machining, welding, grinding, heat treatment, or plating, in this case NDT is applicable after this secondary process to inspect the component for their quality check. I will give you one example of KPT, which is situated in Jaisinghpur area. They are manufacturing blowers, and after casting the components transferred to the machining department for machining, rough machining and finished machining. So in this case, before going to actual machining, they inspect the component with the help of ultrasonic technique for or to check whether there is a porosity or whether there is a crack available in the or presence in the component or not. So machining is also very important process. So before machining, if you apply NDT method, then too much labor cost, too much energy cost is we can say we save these kind of energy and labor hours also with the help of NDT methods. So in service damage, so there may be a crack during the actual working of component, There may be a corrosion due to different chemical compositions. There may be a wear or erosion during multiple application of mechanical components. There may be a heat damage. So these are the few examples shown here. This is erosion or wear, we can say. This is cracking. This is corrosion, and this image shows that heat damage. So in any type of mechanical condition, we can check the component with the help of NDT method. This is the actual example. These robotic clovers use ultrasound to inspect the wall of large tanks. So this image shows that the ultrasound with the help of one robotic device, we scan the huge tanks with the help of NDT. So cameras on long articulating arms are used to inspect underground storage tank for damage. So it is a visual inspection. It comes under visual inspection. Jet engine inspection. So at the time of overhauling, these components can be inspected with the help of NDT. It may be a radiography, it may be a magnetic particle, it may be a dye penetrant. Multiple methods are applicable while overhauling the jet engine components. Suppose there is a minor crack present in the this jet engine component, it may causes a huge damage. So this image shows that the overview of damage. So a defect that went undetected in an engine disk was responsible for the crash of United Flight 232. So see here in this image, 1, 2 and 3. These are the three locations where crack is undetected, and these arrows shows that propagation of crack. So these three cracks are undetected, and these cracks are responsible for this plane crash. Rail inspection can be made with the help of ultrasonic technique, or we can say radiography also, and it is inspected for crack or heat damage during the actual operation. Selection of NDT. How we can select the NDT methods for a particular component? It depends on nature of defect, which type of defect is there, or it is predicted defect. Nature of material, as we already discussed, that radiography can be used for any type of material, but if you want to apply eddy current testing, if you want to apply magnetic particle testing method, then particular type of material should be there. Manufacturing process of material, yes. So for forging, for casting, nature of material is different, so we can select the appropriate technique at the time of testing. Inspection environment. Next, quality of equipment. These are the selection criteria of NDT techniques. Through these multiple NDT methods, or amongst from these NDT technique methods, we need to select appropriate NDT method for inspection of particular component, and the selection depends on these 6 parameters or factors. Future progress. There are 2 general trends within the NDT community that are influencing development, and both center around the operator. it means that on the one hand we says that we need a proper interpretation of responses, so that we need a skilled person. In other hand we says that automation needs in the inspection method to nullify or to you can say to remove the manual interruption in the actual progress. So these are the two hands of NDT. At one side we says that we need a expert person to interpret the result, and other side we say that there may be automation in progress. So in importance, as far as the importance of these NDT techniques are concerned, we need more reliability, we need more precision and more speed. So for this purpose we can adopt computerized technology, but in other hand we need to survive the skilled person, we need to train the inspector, the operators in a well defined manner to get the proper results. So finally the need of specialist technician as well as application of specialist will grow to cope up with many opportunities being presented. So there is a new facing factors coming into NDT which seems like to be bring major modifications to most NDT methods. So these computerized techniques can be adopted to handle the huge data which comes during actual inspection. Thank you. Thank you for your attention.